All right, welcome in, Coach. And Bob, get started, please.
Okay, hey Gus, you're in the hot seat.
There we go. There we go.
Hey, I wanted to, you've been here a couple of years now, and I'm sure got to know Devo pretty well. And first of all, can you imagine another player calling a timeout that Eric wouldn't, go ballistic on?
No, he probably takes the cake for that one. Sorry, I lost my voice a little bit the last couple of games. It's been a little bit those were must wins, as coach has been saying. So we've been going wild. But Devo has the utmost respect from the staff. There's a trust with Coach and Devo that I think with the years that they've had together and the career that he's had, he's earned that trust at times. We've had a couple of players that I've been around, probably the Martin twins and guys like that at Nevada, and probably last year JD and Jay Will probably would have got away with that, but not many. But I think that Devo has a great pulse on our team and has a great connection with Coach Muss and the staff.
And then he's always been an elite defensive player. He's always gone to the hole hard. Always been a good rebounder. Hadn't been the greatest jump shooter, but the last 5 games he's been pretty consistent with it. Whether it's a mid range or a three, getting his feet set. Just what do y'all thought about that, and how big a plus is that with all the other stuff he does? If he can consistently knock down perimeter shots, I mean, there's really no holes in his game that I can think of.
Yeah, he's stepped up and took on every perimeter challenge that we've given him throughout the year, and he continues to get better defensively as well. That's one thing. Sometimes as the season goes, players start to get a little bit run down and tired, and his energy has gone through the roof. And then I think on the offensive side, he's taken really quality shots. He's not forcing. He's taking what the defense is giving him, and he's putting in a lot of work. Like I said, his energy throughout the year is continuing to get better and better, and his work ethic, extra shooting on his own. I mean, I've walked in here multiple times and the lights are kind of dimmed and he's in there zoned in shooting, with a GA or a manager or by himself on the shooting machine. So it's really a credit to him. And then, taking the coaching, shot selection, taking the right time, right shot.
I might have a couple more. If time allows, I'll turn it back to Mike. Thanks.
Scotty?
Yeah, Gus, you look at some of the numbers for you guys in Baylor, y'all are top 15 defense efficiency wise. I think Baylor's second in offensive efficiency. I'm curious what you make of that matchup. It's obviously a pretty big opportunity for you guys.
It's a huge opportunity, and we have great respect for the program, for the team, for their staff. Big thing, obviously, is they're unbelievable on offense right now. Their efficiency, like you said, they shoot the three as good as any team will play. They get to the free throw line as good as any team will play. They offensive rebound as good as any team. So those are 3 areas that we have to be dialed into. For us offensively, the one thing we have to do is we have to run. I think that we have to, create points out of our transition scores. We call them hidden points. Where can we score that maybe doesn't pop up in the box score? Their ability to shoot the three is really, really dangerous. They have 3 elite guards, and then you have Bridges that can knock down a 3. So we're going to have to be really dialed in. Teams that have shot the 3 extremely well have hurt us a little bit this year, so we can't get them or allow them to get 2 or 3 off in a row. We have to make them play inside the arc as much as possible, which is really hard to do because they run great action. You can't fall asleep off the ball. And then they're really good in the pick and roll. So, and as a passing team, they're quality. But the ball, scores for them. If you watch the Kansas game, they did a great job of isoing and shooting tough shots on good defenders. So our defense is going to have to be elite. And then offensively, they do foul a lot if you look at their statistics. So we have to get to the free throw line. We have to run in transition. We can't let our offense just be in the half court.
If you're able to, I guess, run them off the 3-point line, they get to the rim, they might be running into Makai. We just talked to him. I'm curious what you've seen in terms of his development, I guess, from maybe where he was early in the season to a guy now that, you don't particularly want to take off the floor that much.
There's no doubt he's become one of our most reliable players. I think for every transfer, there's just this time period that goes on that you have to adjust to this new program and what coach wants and what are the pet peeves of the staff and how do we really play. I think that, once we got into SEC play, it's really hard to get Kai off the floor because he helps so many other people defensively. He gets his hands on loose balls. He's so active. He's athletic. I think one thing that's been awesome is how hard both he and Kel have worked in practice. You can't, walk off the floor and not see them, drip and sweat, and, they're hard, tough-nosed guys. And I think their play, because of their practice, consistency has really improved. But I think Kai's having a great year, and we would even like him, to finish even better around the rim. And he's working on his post moves constantly, but I think that's an area, his free throw shooting, his, continuing to, I know he's 1 for 1 from 3, but continue to work on that piece of his game. Not that that's what we want him to focus on, but we want him to be able to complete, his catch and finishes and get more and ones, to help our assist rate and also his finishing.
Curtis?
Hey, Gus, I know every game is a little bit different, but I'm curious, what do you think the key is for these guys to get over the hump and close one out on the road? I mean, are there any common themes that have stood out in any of these games that have slipped away?
Yeah, I think for sure finishing the game the right way. I think that that's been a common theme, and it is a common theme, for coaches' teams in the past that I've been a part of, and this is my 4th one. At the end of games, and you all know it because you've watched all these games, there's 4 or 5 minutes left, and it's a 1 possession game majority of the time, and then somebody either breaks it open, but finishing the game the right way. So what does that mean? It means not having careless turnovers to end a game. Our last road game was Missouri, getting a defensive rebound off a free throw and not turning it over, getting a shot on goal, getting the right shot, the right person the ball that's playing the best that night. And I think that that's part of our growth. And we're not where we want to be. So I do think that's an exciting piece, is that we haven't really got that done yet, at the level we need to. We're doing it better at home right now. But again, on the road, it's just another level of focus, shot selection, game management, time management, and then defensively, digging your heels in and getting big defensive rebounds, and not letting the game affect your emotions. I think you've seen us at times getting a little bit overexcited, a little bit overly down. You got to stay confident with what our game plan is, and then just allowing coach to put everybody in the right spot and just let the game play out, and not beat yourself.
And, several times throughout the course of the year, Muss has mentioned maybe the unique or different challenges with this particular group being as young and new as it is, maybe compared to previous years. I'm just curious, how has that impacted your role on the staff this season? I mean, are you spending more time and focus on anything in particular, or is it just kind of status quo?
No, I think all of us are. I think that watching, game by game, every game with, whether it's Anthony Black, who comes in and watches it with me, sitting down and watching each possession, not just a clip of 15 possessions, but really seeing, the clock management. Well, you could have started 2 seconds later on this end of half possession, or, why did you go for this? Were you thinking of a 2 for 1? Trying to ask those questions back and forth, and then reminding him, hey, we were in this position when we were at Auburn coming out of a timeout, or at LSU. And you saw from game to game, I've already seen it, a growth in that. I think that even the little things, like, and we take it for granted, but, are we huddling every single time? Like last game, we had a total breakdown off of a free throw where Hannibal had a wide open layup, essentially. Luckily, we ran back and, we're able to cut him off. But like, that was a lack of a huddle, which if that's the end of a 5-minute, last 5 minutes of game, that could have been a layup that could have lost us the game. So we're constantly talking about those little things. And I think that, Devo's done a great job of reminding the guys to focus on their matchups, to make sure we stop the ball, to keep everything, pretty simple. And I think that from game to game, we're seeing improvements. I know sometimes for all of us, we want it to be these huge jumps, but hopefully right now and at the end of January and going into February, which is totally winning time, we're going to start seeing these dividends pay off.
Bob?
Hey, Gus, obviously you guys went through a rough stretch, 4 straight losses, now
Yeah.
a couple good wins at home. And when Kai was saying team's pretty confident, kind of what, from the coaching staff's perspective, kind of what's the team's mindset going to Baylor, which obviously, is a very hard place to win.
I think they're really excited when you have the opportunity to play in this challenge with 2 of the best leagues in America, 2 of the best programs, in our opinion, to play. I mean, how could you not be excited? We have a lot of guys, obviously, that are from Texas too. I think that adds to it. There's, these 2 teams played, a couple years back in a huge game in the NCAA tournament. So there is a history, and our guys love the challenge. And again, I think it's something that they're really looking forward to. This is going to be like an NCAA tournament type game. So how could you not be? I know as a staff, we're really excited about the challenge. And again, it's another barometer to see where we're at. Not like the SEC doesn't give us a lot of those barometers, having played, Auburn, Alabama, and all these teams that are, Missouri that are ranked in the top 25. But this is a game that you don't often get to play. And, we need to play well on the road. That's an area that we have to improve. And so this is, no better place to start than doing it, at Baylor, which will be a crazy crowd and a great opportunity.
Yeah, hope Mikel's feeling better, but before he got hurt, he was playing more minutes, and I know it means a lot to Makai to see his brother do well. What do you think about those two guys as how they've, I guess, transitioned to Arkansas? And I know you guys kind of recruit from a team standpoint with the staff. Just what do you remember about their recruiting? And Makai said they were a package deal. If you want, we can't just take one. You got to take them both.
There you go. Well, that's a good thing. That was a good thing for us. I think that was something that, when you lose Jalen Williams, who's, in our opinion, one of the better defenders you can have at that spot, you need to try to bring in, you can't ever duplicate a player like that with his ability to take charges, but somebody else that can stop the ball at the rim, and they were both elite transfer defenders. So we've coached twins before, and there is an uncanny special type of connection that they have. Like if Cal gets hurt on the floor, you almost feel like Kai is feeling it. Like what was it, Arnold Schwarzenegger and Danny DeVito twins back in the day, right? The movie. But they have that connection. And I do think that our team really enjoys playing with them on the floor. There's a toughness that both of them bring. They have a great spirit. I think they've really improved. And the big thing is that they're really bought into trying to do the things that we want them to do, which is a lot of hard work. They're in a lot of pick and rolls every game. They're having to slide their feet and help multiple players, but they've really improved, very coachable. And the one thing that you cannot deny is they have an extremely hard work ethic. And so, I know the fans are liking how hard they're playing. We just want to continue to have the consistency from both of them. And again, foul trouble is also something that they have to stay out of.
Well, Baylor's got a lot of good players everywhere, but those three guards especially, their three stars, I guess, Cryer and George and Flagler. What would you say about those guys, and kind of what's the scouting report on them from your all's perspective?
Shoot, if all three of us, Scotty, Curtis, you, Bob, we went out to a court without any defenders out there and tried to shoot the three like they do, it'd be really hard to do without anybody on the floor guarding us. They are extremely talented, and it's not often that you have great 3-point shooters, very good free throw shooters. Cryer doesn't get to the free throw line as much as the other two, but their ability to get to the free throw line, all three of them can score at all three levels. So you have to be at high alert. I thought the one thing that stood out the most in their last game was their ability to shoot over defenders, somebody standing in front of them, and not just catch and shoot shots off the bounce from three. So again, our hands are going to be full. It's going to be a game where you can't just have one, defender guarding this game. It's going to have to be all of our perimeter players, and we're going to have two other guys helping on pin downs, baseline screens, pick and roll action. So we're going to have to be dialed in. And the one thing they do is they can lull you to sleep. They have a lot of motion to get into their main action, and we can't fall asleep off the ball.
It's good. It's a good thing that the twins are taller than Danny DeVito.
Yeah, that was something we definitely looked at in the when we were recruiting, and we needed a little bit more size than good old DeVito.
Okay, thanks.
Yep.
Thanks, Gus. Appreciate your time.
Thanks, guys.